biggest challenge is actually understanding on the ground what the role actually is.
There are gray areas there are no real defined things that you have to sort of, that's where you call upon the wisdom of Solomon to sort of intervene.
There's lots of theory, there are kind of canon laws, there are things in the scriptures that might suggest any number of things, but on the ground, what does it look like?
I think the biggest challenge I faced coming into the episcopate really had to do with the lawsuits that my diocese had been engaged in for about a decade prior to my election and consecration. That became the job that defined my whole first year of my episcopacy.
I am the second bishop following the founding bishop of the Diocese of the Mid-Atlantic, and so there's a lot that I have to learn in terms of the diocese, in terms of God's call and direction for me and for the diocese. There's a waterfall coming at me of new stuff, and so managing all of the change, all of what it means to become a bishop, all of that is new.
You see bishops doing confirmations and ordinations, but a lot of the jurisdictional duties behind the scenes and the pragmatics of how do I do those things? What are the right ways to go about that to really help the church have good order and flourish?
Paul says to Timothy in his first letter, chapter 3, verse 1, that anyone who is called to be a bishop desires a good thing. But it can often seem to be an overwhelming thing. And so how do we help equip bishops for a job that they don't really know fully until they're immersed in it?
You know, when you're in a smaller group, which you are because of the new bishops, with some of the senior bishops, you really get to know each other in a much deeper way. Smaller group, you're living life together for the week. That's the biggest thing for me. But also, you know, to be able to hear stories and to hear accounts of challenges that bishops have faced, situations that they've encountered and how they've dealt with it.
We're actually hearing some things about practical realities of anything from church discipline to how we order our own lives and maintain our spiritual lives that actually feed directly into that. And also gaining from the wisdom of bishops who have been doing this for a while.
The older, you know, more mature bishops, senior bishops, just having close proximity to them, the availability, outside the various topics, just to be able to talk with them about issues has been incredibly helpful. The going through this process with other newer bishops who are on the same learning curve you are, we're able to compare notes and to begin to formulate the direction of our Episcopal ministry.
This BLA is amazing for those who are starting, but it's also amazing for those of us who've been in it for a while and can have an enrichment experience that allows us to reflect and to ponder things with the experience behind us. I am just glad for greater knowledge and greater understanding that is needed in the Bishop Toolbox. I'm also really happy to have made closer relationships.
Getting to understand other perspectives and how we're going to work together going into the future has been really, really helpful and enlightening for me.
I don't know of any place else that is doing this kind of training and equipping of bishops, and in a learning community where the bishops themselves are asking the questions that they're dealing with that no one prepares you for.
One of the things that I'm taking back to my diocese is the collective wisdom that has been hard-earned by the larger ACNA that can be shared with bishops and dioceses and then from dioceses to parishes.
It's the recognition that good organization, good processes actually free me up to be the bishop and free the clergy and the laity of our diocese to fulfill the Great Commission.
What I hope to get overall from my time here is relationships. Guys I can call at a moment's notice, people to walk with in the journey that understand exactly what I'm dealing with as I go into this next stage of God's call in my life.
Several of the bishops and I now will be in a cohort together where we're spending more time with each other and having the opportunity to encourage and pray for each other in more specific ways.
It is really powerful to see the servant heart of the AAC to think ahead strategically, to operationally plan events like this to build up the ACNA, to build up the body of Christ.